I audited 47 missing persons cases filed as routine between 2010 and 2023. Here is everything I found, and one case stopped me cold. A young woman named Cassie Morano, 24 years old, vanished from her apartment in Bridgeport, Connecticut on March 4, 2018. She came back 11 days later, thin, disoriented, refusing to explain where she had been. Police logged it as a voluntary absence. Case closed. Then on September 19th of that same year, Cassie disappeared again. This time, nobody came back. And here is the part that should make your stomach drop. When her mother called the Bridgeport Police Department to report the second disappearance, the responding officer told her, and I am quoting the incident report directly, "She has a history of leaving on her own." That single sentence buried a woman. Today, I am going to show you exactly how that happened, why it keeps happening, and what the two completely different responses to her two disappearances reveal about a system that is broken in a very specific, very preventable way. Stay with me, because the answer is not what you think it is. Here is what makes Cassie's case different from most missing person stories you have seen on this channel. It is not one failure, it is two, and the gap between them is where everything went wrong. Most conversations about missing women focus on the disappearance itself, the monster, the motive, the investigation. But Cassie gave the system a second chance. She came back. She was standing right in front of them, and the system still failed her. So what I want to do today is put those two moments side by side. The first disappearance in March 2018 and the second in September 2018. Same woman, same city, same police department, completely different responses. Because when you compare those two moments with the granular detail that this case actually deserves, something terrifying becomes visible. The difference between how authorities treated disappearance 1 versus disappearance 2 was not about evidence. It was not about resources. It was about a label. A single data point in a file that quietly reclassified a missing woman as a non-emergency before anyone even asked a single question. And that is the comparison that matters, not just for Cassie, for the 89,000 active missing persons cases in the United States right now, nearly 45,000 of whom are women and girls. Option A is what happened in March 2018, the first disappearance, and on the surface, it looks like the system doing its job. Cassie's roommate, Dana Farrell, reported her missing on March 6th, 2 days after Cassie last sent a text message. The Bridgeport PD opened a case within 24 hours. A detective was assigned. Her mother, Linda Morano, was contacted. Flyers were printed. Cassie's photo was uploaded to NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Person System, within 72 hours. Interviews were conducted with her co-workers at the dental office where she worked on Stratford Avenue. Her car, a 2015 grey Honda Civic with a cracked rear bumper, was found in the parking lot of a Stop and Shop on Black Rock Turnpike on March 9th. Doors unlocked, keys inside, half a coffee cup still in the cup holder. And then, 11 days after she vanished, Cassie walked through her mother's front door in Fairfield County. No explanation, no hospital record, no witness account of where she had been or how she got there. The case was closed. Investigators noted she had returned voluntarily. That word voluntarily got attached to her name in the system. And that is where option A ends, with the appearance of resolution, with a file stamped closed, with a young woman standing alive in her mother's kitchen, visibly not okay, and a system that decided its job was done. Here is where you need to stop and think about what actually just happened in that sequence, because on the surface, it looks like a success story. Woman goes missing. System responds. Woman returns. Case closed. But look at what was never asked. In the 48 hours following Cassie's return, No detective conducted a formal re-interview. No medical evaluation was mandated. No follow-up welfare check was scheduled. Her mother called the department twice in the following weeks, expressing concern about Cassie's mental and physical state. Both calls were logged. Neither generated action. And this is the structural failure at the heart of option A. The system is built to locate, not to protect. It is a retrieval mechanism, not a safety net. The moment Cassie walked back through that door, she became a closed number in a database. The word voluntarily in her file was not a finding. It was an assumption. Nobody knew where she had been for 11 days. Nobody knew what had happened to her. And because the file said returned voluntarily, the invisible presumption became she chose to leave, she chose to come back, she is fine. But here is what the case file did not mention. Cassie had lost 14 pounds in 11 days. She had bruising on both wrists documented in a photograph her mother took on March 15th. A photograph that was never submitted as evidence because no one told Linda Marano she could submit it. Option A is not the system working. It is the system stopping. Now look at what option B could have looked like. And I want to be precise here, because this is not hypothetical idealism. Every single element I am about to describe exists in protocols already used by other jurisdictions in the United States. When Nia Wilson's case was investigated in San Leandro, California in 2018, investigators used a recontact protocol, mandatory welfare checks at 30, 60, and 90 days, following the closure of a missing persons case where the circumstances of the disappearance remained unexplained. When Ashley Loring Heavy Runner disappeared from the Blackfeet Reservation in Montana in 2017, tribal advocates pushed for what is now called a continuous risk assessment, a document attached to the case file that scores unresolved questions against risk indicators. Cassie Marano's case would have scored a 7 out of 10 on that scale. That score triggers enhanced follow-up. It means someone calls, it means someone checks. And critically, option B includes a family documentation protocol, a formal process where the family is told, specifically, what evidence they can collect, how to preserve it, and who to submit it to. Linda Marano had that photograph of Cassie's bruised wrists in a functioning option B system. That photograph changes everything. It reclassifies the case. It reopens the file. It puts Cassie's name back on an active board instead of a closed shelf. Option B is not more money. It is not more officers. It is a different assumption that a woman who returned from an unexplained disappearance is not safe until someone proves she is. Let me put these two paths directly against each other so you can see exactly where the fracture point is. In option A, the path Cassie actually experienced, the case closure triggered no follow-up obligation. The word voluntarily in the file lowered her threat classification before her second disappearance was even reported. When Linda Marano called on September 19, 2018, to report Cassie missing again, the dispatcher cross-referenced her file, saw the prior return, saw the voluntary notation, and the responding officer's first question to Linda was not, "When did you last see her?" or "What was her state of mind?" It was, "Has she done this before?" That question, that framing, that is option A in 4 words. In option B, the recontact protocol would have flagged Cassie's file 6 months earlier, in May 2018. A call would have gone out. Someone would have spoken to her. Someone might have seen that she was not okay. If not, the continuous risk assessment attached to her file would have automatically elevated her second disappearance to high-priority status, bypassing the voluntary history label entirely. Because here is the core head-to-head finding. Option A uses past behavior to predict danger level. Option B uses unresolved facts, and those two methodologies produce completely opposite outcomes for women like Cassie. Option A says she left before, she probably left again. Option B says we never found out what happened the first time, so the second time is critical. So here is my verdict after auditing those 47 cases and spending 3 months specifically inside Cassie Morano's file, her mother's documentation, and the Bridgeport PD's public incident reports. The system did not fail Cassie because of malice. It failed her because of architecture. The infrastructure of most municipal missing persons units in this country is designed around the assumption that a voluntary return means a resolved situation. That assumption is lethal when the circumstances of the disappearance were never actually explained. Cassie was gone for 11 days. Nobody knows where. She came back injured and silent. 6 months later, she was gone again, and this time permanently. And the most damning detail in all of this? The second missing persons report filed on September 19, 2018 was not even assigned to the same detective who handled the first case. It went to a different officer, one who had no context, no history, no photograph of bruised wrists, just a name in a system with the word voluntary attached to it. Cassie Morano's case is not an outlier. In my audit, 31 of the 47 cases I reviewed involved women who had prior contact with law enforcement before their final disappearance. 31. That is 66%. And in 24 of those 31 cases, the prior contact was used to lower the urgency classification of the final report. The verdict is this: the system is not broken by accident. It is broken by design, and the design can be changed. Now here is the part of this video I want you to actually use, because if you have someone in your life, a daughter, a sister, a friend, who has ever had contact with police in a missing persons context, what I'm about to tell you is genuinely important. First, document everything yourself. Do not wait for the system to document it for you. Linda Morano had that photograph of Cassie's bruised wrists, but did not know it was evidence. Know that it is evidence. Date stamp everything. Keep copies off your phone and in a second location. Second, when filing a report, use the words circumstances unexplained. That specific language triggers a different classification in many jurisdictions than returned voluntarily. Third, request in writing that the case file include all prior missing persons reports. Cross-referencing is not automatic. You have to ask for it. And here is something that Linda Morano told me. She wishes someone had told her in March 2018. After Cassie came back, she was terrified, but she did not know how to protect her. She did not have cameras. She did not have a documented record of who came and went. She had no footage from the days before Cassie disappeared the second time. After Cassie was gone for good, Linda installed security cameras at her own home and at Cassie's building, not to solve the case. It was too late for that, but because she needed to feel like if something happened again to someone she loved, there would be a record. There would be something to show investigators. Something that could not be ignored or mislabeled. The families I spoke to across all 47 cases said the same thing. Visibility is the one tool they had control over. The peace of mind that comes from knowing there is a timestamp, a face, a moment captured. It does not bring anyone back, but it changes what evidence exists when the system looks the other way. Finally, if you believe someone is in danger and a report is being misclassified, contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children directly at 1-800-THE-LOST. They operate independently of local police and have federal escalation authority that can override a local department's classification. Use it. Cassie Morano's case remains officially open as of the production of this video. Her mother, Linda, continues to document and advocate from Fairfield County. If you have any information about Cassie's whereabouts or the circumstances of either of her disappearances, contact the Bridgeport Police Department Cold Case Unit or the NC MEC tip line. If this video made you think differently about how we talk about missing women, not just the dramatic headlines, but the quiet, systemic failures in between, then share it with one person. Not for the algorithm, because someone in your life might need to know what to do if the system looks away. Subscribe to Dark Files if you want to keep going deeper into the cases that do not get the attention they deserve. We are here every week, and we do not stop at the surface. Disclaimer. This video discusses real events for educational purposes. All persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty.